All right, what's up, everybody? How you doing? Let's get this jacket off. We'll start recording and talking and hanging out. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's well, a little later than lunchtime in most places, I guess. Definitely in the West Coast. Down here in the central United States, it's about 1 o'clock. No. East Coast, it's like 2 o'clock. Sorry. Um, West Coast. I get that. How do I get that mixed up all the time? But I do. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the lasting impact that the first generation of American hardcore punk bands have had on like punk and music in general, the scene, society, etc. So so for all that, welcome to the Punk Rock Review. How you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Please, if you haven't done so, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to that 13,000 mark. Um, yeah, a lot of work to do. Um, so I get these messages from Google all the time. I don't know like what they are. They're like these Google. Here, I'll pull one up and show you. Let's see. So they come on my phone. I figured out that I can email them to myself, which I thought was kind of cool because there we go. It's like these right here. Hardcore punk album influence. It's just like, I guess it's like just some like AI write up on it, I guess. I don't know. But I found it kind of interesting, and today I woke up and there was, actually it was yesterday. Pardon me. I woke up and there was two of them, and they both pertained to like hardcore, and I was pretty shocked by that. So I thought, you know what? Let's pull these up and talk about them, and just discuss some of these bands and just see what Google has to say about it. Right? Keep in mind, I am reading this off of the internet. I'm not. This isn't necessarily my opinion. I'll give you my opinions here in a little bit, but it looks as though we've got. Oh, this will be interesting. I'm glad I didn't read this until now. Okay, so we've got like five or six bands to talk about real quick. We won't go super long today. Probably a little over an hour, but yeah, this is going to be fun. There's a list of a few bands. I don't really understand I don't understand what this is. It's the weirdest thing, man. Like they just said, "Hey, you talk about this all the time around your phone. Let's send you some information." It's very strange. But without further ado, I'll read you what Google is telling me I need to know about hardcore punk rock. It's so weird, dude. It's so strange. The world is a weird place right now. All right. Again, disclaimer. This is coming from Google. It was an unsolicited thing that they sent me. I didn't ask for it. They just sent it to me. So if it's wrong or whatever, just Google, not Punk Rock Review. Hardcore punk albums emerging in the late 70s and early 80s exerted a major influence on music and culture with their raw intensity, DIY ethos, and politically charged lyrics. Pushed to the fringe by the commercialization of earlier punk bands in the scenes from Southern California and Washington, D.C. Wait. Oh, I missed a comma. Excuse me. Gotta have punctuation if you're reading, right? Pushed to the fringes by the commercialization of earlier punk, comma, bands and scenes from Southern California and Washington, D.C. created a faster, more aggressive sound that inspired new genres and defined underground ethics for decades, which I think we can all agree that's accurate. Uh, and I've figured out over the years that like the hardcore I like is just hardcore punk. I don't really listen to a lot of hardcore as in like I'll just use Terror as an example because I like that band a lot. But like bands that sound like that, I don't typically lean into. I like Terror, Death Before Dishonor, Integrity, Hatebreed, but all the like modern ones, it's not that I don't like their music or think that they're not good. I just don't gravitate towards it. I need a little punk in my hardcore, or to me, it's not hardcore. It's just metal. But it brings up Black Flag first, and it cites Damaged from '81. It says the seminal album. Seminal, bro. This is what is bad about live streams, but that's really good about making a video is that I can edit all this crap out. This seminal album solidified the sound of West Coast hardcore with its furious energy and intense, aggressive vocals from frontman Henry Rollins. The band's confrontational style and rejection of the mainstream set a new standard for nihilism and speed within punk. Damaged became a blueprint for countless bands and was instrumental in establishing the influential independent record label SST Records, exemplifying the hardcore movement's DIY approach to the music industry. Yeah, I mean that's pretty accurate. This is a weird thing, dude. I'm fascinated by why they sent me this. Like, first off, I already knew all this, yeah, but it's cool that they just went, "Hey, you like this a lot. Did you know about this?" So they're listening, but they're not listening closely, right? It's weird. Then it brings up, hold on, man, I can't breathe. Give me 1 second, dude. My sinuses are kicking my butt today. Let's see, can I mute this real quick? Okay, I'm back. Anyways, you know, yeah, it's just strange. So it brings up Minor Threat next with the complete discography from, well, it says self-titled 82 and then complete discography in 89. Though they released only a handful of EPs, Minor Threat's music was profoundly impactful. The song Straight Edge explicitly promoted a lifestyle free of drugs and alcohol, coining the term and launching the influential straight edge movement. Band members, particularly vocalist Ian Mackay, were crucial to the DC hardcore scene and founded Discord Records, another DIY institution that released music from the community. Their commitment to independence and ethics defined the ethos for a generation of punks. Man, I should have put up a disclaimer that I've only been awake for a few minutes. I just decided to jump on here and do this. I mean, if you look at my hair, I look like crap right now. Not that I don't always look like that, but, you know, I work until like very, very late at night. So me and Parker sleep until like, well, he gets up at like noon. I get up at like 10:30. So I go to bed like 4, maybe 3:30. I get about 7 hours sometimes. But I don't like to sleep, man. I like to work. So I stay up and work all night and sleep until about lunchtime, get up. I don't eat breakfast and stuff, so I sleep through it. Why not? Why not? If I'm up just cooking and stuff, I'd rather just work late at night, right? Anyways, sorry. ADHD brain kicking in. Next, they bring up Bad Brains, self-titled album from 1982. This debut shattered genre limitations by fusing the aggressive speed of hardcore with complex musicianship and a foundation in reggae. Bad Brains' incredible technical proficiency set a new, higher standard for musicianship in hardcore. The album showcased a more versatile and virtuosic, I think I said that right, side of hardcore that influenced later crossover genres, including funk, metal, and post-hardcore. The band's Rastafarian beliefs and positive mental attitude, PMA, also contributed a distinct philosophical current to the scene. Anybody that's watching this later, man, this guy can't even read. That's true. I didn't proofread this, or not proofread it. I didn't give it a once over first. So that's on me. It's all right though. I'd be willing to bet if I just threw this at a bunch of you guys, you couldn't do a better job than I am. So none of us can read on camera, right? It's difficult. Whenever I do voiceovers for stuff like this, like I'm working on that Women in Punk one, dude, it's like an hour and 40 minutes for part one. I guarantee you it'll end up being about 45 minutes because I'm going to edit out an hour's worth of me going, da 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 da. Ah, crap, I said that wrong. And then editing it out. I don't want to use AI like voiceover because I just feel like it pulls something. I mean, obviously, right? It pulls human from it. But, yeah. Dead Kennedys, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables from 1980. Combining blistering tempos with, you know what? Hold on. We talked about a couple of these things, right? Minor Threat. Let's just talk about these first real quick. Sorry. Black Flag Damaged is an album that I like. Okay, right? I'd say like 75% of the songs are songs I dig, and then there's a couple I don't really care for, right? But they definitely set the standard for some sounds that I like. And there's a bunch of bands that sound like Black Flag. They sound like Negative Approach. They sound like Poison Idea that I like a lot. So an album like this may not be my favorite record, but it's so instrumental in, propping up the records that I love today. It's kind of like it took me all these years to realize that I need to appreciate the Clash. Like whether I like them or not, and I do now, but like whether I like them or not is irrelevant. They created the template that bands like Rancid go for, right? Now Rancid has created their own version of that template at this point, but that wouldn't exist without the Clash. And so bands like Black Flag, even bands like Bad Brains, who I've historically not liked much, whatever. I wish I could have seen them live. That's the thing. Is like I feel like any of these bands, a lot of my issues with them is the recording, not necessarily the songs. So had I been able to see them live, I probably would have loved it because these sounds they didn't come out of like bands now that I was just talking to a friend yesterday about bands that go and they make these albums. They sound like old hardcore albums or old punk records, and they want these new modern records to sound bad because that's how the old ones sounded. And it's like, dude, those records sounded that way out of a necessity. It had nothing to do with the desire to sound crummy. They wanted them to sound good. They got them to sound as good as they could. That doesn't mean you should then go and like redo a take on something to make it sound bad. It's so weird. Punk rock people can't appreciate good quality sound sometimes. It's a certain part of the community that likes that stuff. But talking about Black Flag. As I get older, I like it more. Right? When I was younger, I didn't care for it much. I just Henry Rollins just ate for me. Bad Brains, it goes in that scale though. It's like Bad Brains, I just never really cared for it all. Like, again, they have some songs that I like a lot. I've never been a fan of HR's vocals, to be honest, and I don't like funk, and I don't want reggae in my hardcore. So like, you know, I'm terrible. I don't have good tastes. It is what it is, right? So I can't do much about that. Um, but then, it goes from something I don't really care for to Black Flag, which I'm like, yeah, I like Black Flag. And then it goes to Minor Threat, and I'm like, okay, now this is like one of my favorite albums of all time. So it's funny how that all existed in the same, time and kind of the same place even. And like, you have three distinct sounds here. And then when we get to Dead Kennedys in a minute, a fourth. But Minor Threat had this like crazy lo-fi fuzzy guitar sound that the moment I heard it, I loved it. It's interesting. And then it's also interesting that I loved Minor Threat so much, and I was a drug addict for a good portion of my life. Even at 43, you're still talking about a quarter of my life being spent, addicted to drugs. So listening to that band and their songs while I'm doing drugs was an odd thing, but I guess a lot of people probably do that. Okay. Moving on, sorry. I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on some of this stuff. Dead Kennedys, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables, 1980. Combining blistering tempos with razor-sharp satire, this album's lyrics delivered a scathing critique of American politics and consumerism. Frontman Jello Biafra's distinctive vocals and sardonic wit gave hardcore a new level of lyrical and political sophistication. Songs like Holiday in Cambodia and California Uber Is it Allies? Anyways, became anthems that demonstrated hardcore's potential for intellectual depth and socio-political commentary beyond just aggression. Now, Dead Kennedys is an interesting one. That's a band that I listened to a lot in like junior high, and then as soon as I hit like 16, I just never listened to them again. That's not true. Not never again, but it was way less often. I don't know. Maybe I just was stoked when I got into the band, and then I just kind of grew out of it or found stuff I liked better or whatever you want to call it. But I'm looking for the song listing for this album. Let's see, because Holiday in Cambodia was a song that no matter what I was doing, I liked that song a lot. It's a pretty ridiculous. There we go. So I think can Give Me Convenience or Give Me Death is the CD I wound up having. Let's see. And I had Bedtime for Democracy as well. So I had those two. Police Truck. That's the. Yeah, I mean, are these all like comps or something? Like, why they have a lot of the same songs on different records. It is what it is, whatever, I don't care. But a lot of these songs I got to hear. I need to go back and do a Dead Kennedys, like listen through and like maybe a video on or something, because I don't really talk about them much, and they deserve some attention. I bring up a lot of these other hardcore bands, but I don't ever bring up Dead Kennedys. It's not out of disrespect. I like what they do. Jello's kind of a weird dude, but like whatever. What's up, Richie? I used to have Bad Brains band in DC album. I have no idea what happened to it over the years because I cannot find it. I mean, man, if you need a copy, hit your boy up. I'll get you one. But you can only have it on cassette tape. That would be weird. Of course, if you need something, let me know, Richie. Yeah, Dead Kennedys, his vocals, man, I gotta be in the mood for that. But they got some really catchy songs with some very witty lyrics. Like, I think out of all this stuff, Minor Threat is the one I like the best still. But Dead Kennedys, I probably would be surprised at how much I liked them still if I went back and did. So I'm probably going to do that very soon. So let's mark down a date for a Dead Kennedys listen through. Maybe like a whole live stream or something. I think Patreon, they're enabling a live stream thing. So I'm going to be able to do like a monthly Patreon exclusive live stream. I might do a Dead Kennedys live stream on Patreon or something. And then come back with notes for the YouTube channel. Ooh. Okay, here we go. Now we're talking. Discharge. Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing from 1982. Yeah, bro. Now we're talking my style of music. The British anarcho-punks Discharge took aggression and distortion to a new level, creating the D-beat rhythm and influencing the heavier, more metallic sound of future extreme music. Which is interesting because I think of them as a straight punk band, but that's accurate. They've influenced a lot of metal and a lot of hardcore. A lot of D-beat, I mean, come on. Would we have Tragedy and From Ashes to Rise, two bands I'd really love? Nope, not without Discharge. The album's relentless speed and brutal sound proved highly influential in the development of thrash metal, grindcore, and even crust punk. Thrash giants like Metallica and Slayer credit Discharge as a major influence. You know what's funny is I was thinking the other day, I was talking to somebody about Metallica's Garage Days album. Y'all hear my stomach growl just now? I'm on a CLP-1 and I just forget to eat all of a sudden. And I've only been on it a very short time, but I'm already seeing what that's going to do to me. Yeah, Pedro, you good, buddy? My dog's hopping in my squeaky chair. Dude, we're just living life, man, on a YouTube live stream. It's all good, man. No worries. Stomach growls, dogs, my kid yelling in the hall. Hanging out, bro. This is a community, man. You're here at my house. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to my home. But I was thinking, I think the first time I ever heard punk music wasn't even punk bands. I'm pretty certain it was Metallica and Megadeth. Megadeth covered Anarchy in the UK, and then Metallica had a few covers of like maybe Discharge, but I know the Misfits on Garage Days. So it's like funny how I don't listen to metal, but metal probably got me into punk. Because I remember hearing those songs and liking those more than the originals, right? It's weird, man. Discharge influenced a lot of bands. Because you can hear Discharge through like just tons of stuff, man. Not just punk and metal, but like, well, mostly punk and metal, I guess. But yeah, man, great band, great album. That album's perfect. Here's the one that blew my mind. Okay, Husker Du, Zen Arcade from 1984. I do not like Husker Du. That band is, I think they're bad. But I've also said many times that I maybe. It's not even the songs that I don't like. It's the noise they put in the songs. It makes my head hurt. So I think I need to go back and listen to Zen Arcade again. If I ever start liking this band, Nitty's going to kill me. It says, this sprawling double album shattered the minimalist structure of hardcore by incorporating elements of psychedelia, acoustic folk, and melodic pop. It was a landmark achievement that demonstrated hardcore's capacity for ambition and experimentation. Zen Arcade paved the way for alternative rock and indie scenes of the late 80s and early 90s. Its expansion of hardcore's musical palette directly influenced later movements like grunge. So that's my issue with bands like Husker Du. I don't feel like they were ever a punk band, but everybody says I'm wrong, so I probably am, right? But they don't sound like a punk band to me. People go, you have a narrow definition of punk. Okay. I'm not even going to argue that. That is what it is, man. I don't care. But Husker Du has never felt like a punk band to me. And shout out to Bob Mould. I met that dude once. He was super nice. That guy was like, he makes me want to listen to their music, honestly. But Zen Arcade, dude, like that's a weird album to call a hardcore record to me. But I need to go back and listen to it again. I've only heard it maybe 1.5 times because I just can't listen to that band. But everybody that listens to them thinks I'm out of my mind. So maybe we just don't like the same music. But maybe I'm dumb. There's, who knows? Mr. Bungle 322, my personal faves, sick of it all. Agnostic Front, Madball, H2O, mostly the New York hardcore stuff. But again, not saying anything bad. I like a lot of it. Hence my screen name. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like sick of it all a lot. Agnostic Front, I have a giant tattoo on my forearm. H2O is pretty good. Madball is pretty good. Um, but I love Minor Threat and I love Discharge. And I'm starting to like Black Flag quite a bit as I get older. Richie says, I tried to get into the Dead Kennedys and just can't. But at the same time, I respect what they brought to the genre and scene. It's just not for me. Hey, man, not everything's for everybody, bro. People think I'm crazy for not liking Bad Brains. I just can't get into it, man. What's up, Micah? How you doing, broski doski? Youngster Micah in here helping me out with a layout, dude. Shout out to Micah for helping me when I needed it. I needed some help, and he stepped up and took care of me, like, straight up. I couldn't believe I could get somebody to help me so fast because it was a time thing. And my stress level is like half of what it was yesterday because of him. So thank you, bro. Appreciate you. But yeah, we're going to do some more Husker Du listening, I guess, pretty soon. Just why not, right? Like, I love this stuff, man. And even if I don't like the music, I need to know it. So whatever, right? It gives me some bullet points here, and we'll move on to the second little thing they sent me in just a minute. It says hardcore's broader legacy and influence. Gives you the birth of new genres. Hardcore albums directly influenced the creation of numerous subgenres and entirely new styles of music, including metalcore, which was combining hardcore with metal, obviously. Duh. That's a thrash metal with the speed and aggression from bands like Discharge, heavily informed thrash pioneer. Yeah, no kidding. Grunge, post-hardcore, and emo. They very much affected the independent music industry. The DIY ethic showcased on early albums, often released on small independent labels, helped build a vibrant and sustainable underground music economy outside of the major record labels. Yeah, I want to shout that out because, as a lot of you guys know, I own a small label. I was able to help my friends out, and I saw they were having trouble getting some of their stuff from the UK over in Europe over to America because of the tariffs and things that are going on. And I said, hey man, if you need a US press, like, just let me know. And they were like, yeah, can you do it? And I was like, yeah, I can do it. And it was immediately like, oh, what am I doing? This is a lot of money. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. And so I was able to put a pre-order up, and a lot of it sold, and it's helping put the record out. So, like, I gave a discount to people that would pre-order it so that they would help me put the record out. Like, I'm good with that. Like, I don't want to make money. I just want to get the record out. So, like, without that pre-order, this record would, it would come out, but whew, it would be a lot. So, but, like, that kind of stuff wouldn't exist without SST, Discharge. I mean, come on. Later on, Epitaph, Fat. Those record labels are huge now, but, like, they didn't used to be. Dude, before 1994, Epitaph was a small label. Let's see, Fat is still kind of a small label, even though it's sold to Hopeless, which is still relatively small. But they're all way bigger than what I do. But, like, Micah says, I've never been into H2O. It's good for you. What's up, Kevin? 45-year anniversary of Fresh Fruit. Wait, today? No way. I appreciate you, Micah. Mr. Bungle says, I concur with Richie when he mentions the respect. Good call. Yeah. No, dude. Like, look, I have respect for a bunch of these bands. I just don't like their music necessarily. And then when I get, like, trash talky a little bit, it's because people go, you have to like this. And then I start saying things I shouldn't even say because it has nothing to do with the band. It's these idiots online. I get in my head about it. But, like, man, you don't have to like what you don't want to like. You think I care if people like my favorite bands? I don't. I care if people like the bands on my label because I want those bands to succeed. But, like, outside of that, like the bands I listen to, I don't care. Like, dude, you listen to whatever you want, man. Unless you're friends of mine, then you gotta listen to what I like. I was gonna say something else that was really poor taste. Sorry, that wasn't funny. But, like, I don't care, man. Also, they wanted to point out the cultural crossover. Hardcore's influence extended beyond music into culture, impacting everything from hip-hop artists who embraced the punk ethos to skate punk culture. That's true. What's up, Squirt? Uh-oh. Look who's here. Cool guy, Parker P. You want to say hi? Hold on. Uh-oh, here he is. Say, what's up, dude?
Hi. Oh, that looks so creepy.
Say, oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi.
There we go. Got a little punk rocker in the making right here.
Look at this right on the glasses. It looks so creepy.
Yeah, you got the reflection of the light in your eyes.
Yeah.
All right, let me get back to work, buddy. Mwah! Love you, bud. I'll be in there in just a few minutes, okay, buddy? Oh, you can play with the dog if you want. It's okay. Okay. Kevin says people need to either read the book or watch the documentary American Hardcore. Oh yes, dude. Yeah, he says the difference between hardcore up to 1986 and everything else after that. Metal is not hardcore. I 100% agree with that. Richard Apple says the hardcore bands I like are Divot, Fury. I don't even know Divot, Fury 66. I don't know. Reach the Sky's okay. Shelter. Ugh, no, I'm not into Shelter. His sunglasses are all my sunglasses. Little turd steals all my stuff. Mr. Bungle says, I'll admit something that hopefully won't get me kicked off this channel. I'm a Fish fan. Bro, like I said, I don't care what you listen to. I'm not listening to it on here, but, you know, whatever. Richie's like, I've seen him 5 times. Let's go. Bro, I like some weird music, man. Not that Sade's weird, but I love Sade. I just got some of her stuff in the shop the other day. I'll be listening to some pretty ladies sing pretty songs. I like unironically like Taylor Swift. I like Adele. When I'm in that kind of mood, bro, you can't beat that woman's music, dude. She sings so good. And her songs make you cry. Lady Gaga when you're feeling kind of bitchy. Or I'll just play a Rancid album. I can almost always listen to that. Today I'm going to make some videos. Check it out, dudes. Check it out. East Bay 7-inch record videos. Oh, some bootlegs. What we talking about here, man? What we talking about here, man? Skrelly, what's up, G? Richie says, I listened to basically everything, but punk is the music I fell in love with first. That's what's up, dude. Fish inspired you to become a sound engineer. Dude, that's awesome. Man, I can't get behind like jam band music like Grateful Dead and Fish, but like I get it. There's people I don't get it, but I get it. I don't get it honestly, but I understand that people really like gravitate towards it. It's all good, man. You like what you like, bro. All right, let's pull up this next thing that they sent me because I'm just so I'm not bothered by any of it, but it's so weird, dude. Okay. Oh, I just got a Coxbar record dropped off at my house. Dude, nice. Nice. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Let's go. Let's go. Let's hear for emails. Okay. Wait, am I in the wrong? Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Where did I go? Oh, I was in the yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Oop, failed payment. I gotta go fix my checking account. Bro, my checking accounts are so crazy, dude. Like, it's not good. That's for sure. All right, so here to check this out. So then they also sent me another thing that said hardcore punk scene evolution. The hardcore punk scene began in the late 1970s as a faster, more aggressive, and more politically charged offshoot of punk. Emerging in underground urban centers across the US, Canada, and the UK, the genre was defined by its intense sound, DIY ethos, and rejection of mainstream commercialism. Hardcore has since evolved through the various regional scenes and fusions with other genres, influencing alternative rock, metal, hip-hop, while maintaining a persistent underground presence. It says roots in the first wave from the late 70s to the early 80s. See, this is where hardcore starts and stops for me, for the most part. There's bands that mimic this sound, but this is basically hardcore. There was a reaction against mainstream stuff. Hardcore developed as a rejection of what many perceived as the commercialization of earlier punk bands like the Ramones and the Clash, as well as a backlash against the artsier sound of new wave and post-punk. Yeah, but a lot of those bands liked those bands too, though. A lot of those hardcore bands, they just didn't want to play. They didn't want to be those bands. They wanted to listen to them, maybe, right? They also had a DIY philosophy, rejecting corporate record labels. Early hardcore bands embraced a self-reliant approach. Let's go. They started their own independent labels such as SST, Black Flag, and Discord, Minor Threat, and promoted shows through word of mouth and self-produced fanzines. Speaking of, issue 2 of Playlist Fanzine is almost finished. It took me forever. I've been just very much overwhelmed lately. There was also urban scenes, vibrant local scenes grew up in metropolitan areas, producing distinct sounds and fostering close knit communities of local bands and fans. So that's the thing, is that a lot of this stuff was like in the city, whereas a lot of punk was coming from the suburbs. But there's nothing wrong with that. Like people, I used to think there was something weird about that. Like you could be a punk rocker and come from anywhere, man. I think there's a little more grit to the punk from the city. But dude, like I don't know. I know a lot of guys from the suburbs that are just as messed up as the dudes from the city. They didn't have any better lives. They just lived in a house that was 20 miles to the east, you know what I'm saying? Or west or north, south, whatever, right? Um, what neighborhood you're in doesn't mean that your parents are going to be good parents, and it doesn't mean you won't have a problem like drugs or abuse of some kind. So you can be just as messed up, and unfortunately, that's where a lot of punk people come from, is just being messed up, right? Southern California was often cited as the birthplace of hardcore. The scene included influential bands like Black Flag, Circle Jerks, and The Descendants. This era was chronicled in the 1981 documentary, The Decline of Western Civilization. The Descendants are a band that I never used to call hardcore until very, very recently. Isn't that weird? I mean, they are to me now. They're still like a pop punk hardcore band. It's weird. Washington, D.C., the scene was largely defined by Discord Records, which released records by seminal bands such as Minor Threat and the all-black ensemble Bad Brains. Why does that matter? I guess it kind of does. This community also popularized the straight edge movement. That's weird that they, like, the all-black ensemble Bad Brains. Like, first off, I think everybody knows that Bad Brains was a band full of black dudes, right? Like, feels weird saying black dudes. But I also feel weird saying African Americans since they're not from Africa. Just the homies. Like I don't know what else to call people, man. Like I hate this shit, dude. Like why can't I just call somebody like my friend? Why do I gotta call them like a color? Somebody the other day was talking and they were like, I don't see white when I look in the mirror, and I was like, well, what do you see? They were like, I don't know, like almost orange, and I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, like tan, peach colored. I hate my skin. I just want to get it covered in tattoos, bro. I don't know. Sorry. This is early for me still, guys. I apologize. That threw me off, man. That was weird, dude. Again, let me preface all this with this is Google sending me this stuff. I didn't ask for it. They also talk about New York City. The tough-minded scene developed later than the West Coast, with Bad Brains relocating from D.C. to help build it. Bands like Agnostic Front and Cro-Mags drew from both punk and thrash metal, contributing to the New York hardcore sound. Then there was also UK 82. A parallel hardcore movement emerged in the UK, exemplified by bands like Discharge and The Exploited. This era saw the adoption of heavier metal-influenced guitar and drum sounds, including the D-beat style. Hardcore scenes also developed in countries like Canada and Japan. Interesting. This is so weird, dude. I want to know why they sent me this. I guess my phone listening to me probably, right? Let's see. What's up, Nitty? We could talk about hardcore without talking about Poison Idea. Yeah, kind of. They haven't been brought up yet in this article. But see, this is what people that popped in late. I'm not making any of this stuff up. I'm making this whole video because Google just like sent me a bunch of stuff, and I thought it was funny, so I wanted to talk about it. Well, according to the Superman movie, he's not punk rock. You misunderstood that completely, but okay. Yeah, there wasn't any insinuation that he was punk, no. I don't think, that's not what I got out of it anyways. I got out of it that he was not punk rock, that he was a Boy Scout, and that's okay. Although, shout out to Rotten Stitches, homies in Mighty Crabjoys. That was cool. Joseph says, DOA created a literal roadmap for the first hardcore bands to follow. Henry Rollins spoke of it. So did Duff McKagan. Passed the info on to bands that knew what clubs were receptive to punk bands, for sure. They did mention Husker Du, Nitty, and I was super bummed about it. The band's terrible, man. Oh, dude. Yeah, I talked about Zen Arcade, which I thought was pretty funny. But it's making me have to go back and listen to Husker Du again. Thanks a lot, Google. Thanks, Obama. Just kidding. Whatever. I'm just playing. Uh, oh man, there was a transition in genre experimentation period from the mid to late '80s. It shifted to metal. By the mid '80s, many pioneering bands either broke up or began experimenting with new sounds. Bands such as Black Flag and DYS moved towards heavier, more influential metal-influenced styles. The overlap between hardcore and thrash metal gave rise to subgenres like crossover, with bands like Corrosion of Conformity and DRI. DRI for sure. Um, Corrosion of Conformity had like a bunch of different sounds, didn't they? Like I don't remember them sounding anything like a punk or a hardcore band. And then their early stuff I found out recently was like punk or something. I don't know. But they came from the Bay Area. I didn't know that either. I was never a fan of that band though. Revolution Summer and post-hardcore in the mid 1980s. The DC scene saw a reaction against the aggression and violence of earlier hardcore with a movement known as Revolution Summer. Bands like Rites of Spring and Fugazi embraced more emotional lyrics and dynamic musical structures, laying the groundwork for post-hardcore and emo. Yeah, dude, thanks a lot for that crap. Revolution Summer. I'm kidding, I don't care. Youth Crew, that's what I'm talking about. In the late 80s, a movement known as Youth Crew emerged, centered on a revival of the classic sound and ethos of bands like Minor Threat. These bands included Youth of Today and Gorilla Biscuits. They prioritized themes of unity and community and were heavily associated with the straight edge lifestyle. Let's go! I like a lot of Youth Crew bands, even though I was a junky piece of crap for a couple of years. And then it brings up diversification and revivals from the 90s to now. Metalcore and fusion in the 90s, hardcore continued to cross-pollinate with other genres. Metalcore exploded with bands like Integrity and Earth Crisis. Okay, I'm a little surprised they brought up those two bands, to be honest. Combining hardcore's rhythm and intensity with heavier metal riffs and breakdowns. Other fusions included Power Violence and Grindcore and Screamo. That's awesome, dude. Shout out to Integrity and Earth Crisis. I'll be seeing you guys in just a few weeks. Internet era and continued expansion. With the advent of the internet, scene dynamics shifted, moving beyond hyper-local scenes to a more interconnected global community, which I kind of wish it didn't, but I also appreciate that it did. So, the streaming influence, the 2010s and 2020s saw a renewed focus on experimentation and fusion, driven by the accessibility of music streaming. Bands like Turnstile blended hardcore with alternative rock and indie pop, bringing the genre to a wider audience and earning mainstream recognition. Woof! Increased inclusivity, which I'm super into. Contemporary hardcore bands have become more inclusive, with artists addressing themes of feminism, queer identity, and race. Bands again like Turnstile, Zulu, and Speed showcase the scene's growing diversity and willingness to address social issues. And then they have a thing that says enduring influence. Today, hardcore remains an influential force in underground music. Its foundational DIY ethic Its foundational DIY ethic continues to inspire new generations of bands and subcultures who value independence and community over commercial success. So I'll tell you one more time. I don't know why they sent me this, but it's kind of cool to read over it and know that like hardcore is something that is. I'll say this though. Here's the thing. So I own a small record store, and it's now divided into two rooms. It was just one room, and we were like a punk rock record store, and I had a section. So I used to have all my records just alphabetized. It was just like punk, oi, ska, reggae, hardcore, metalcore, metal, all in just alphabetized. Then I separated metal. Then I separated hardcore. Then I separated oi and reggae and ska. And so punk is, still got like punk, D-beat, and all that stuff all in one thing, right? It blows my mind how many kids walk in and go straight to the little hardcore section I've got. It's probably like 50, 60 records deep. And like they look in that and they leave. They don't care about punk at all. And I'm like, dude, what the F, man? You don't get any of this stuff without punk bands. Because there's a lot of hardcore music in my punk section. It's hardcore punk, but it's hardcore, dude. Like, it just blows my mind that kids come in there and they just want to hear like heavy metal riffs, metal riffs, and they don't care about any punk. It's strange, dude. But it's Hardcore is way bigger than punk. Let me be very clear about that. Punk is not as popular as hardcore by a lot. I mean, it's weird, honestly, but whatever. Mr. Mungle says, I took it as if being a decent person is punk rock, then to be a decent person, it makes. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's not at all what I got out of it. But, hey, whatever, man. It's up for interpretation, right? Like, it's. I don't know. I'm certainly not the authority on that. So, I do think that in order to be punk rock, you have to be you know what, though? Here's the thing about that. We always talk about punk rock is all inclusive and punk rock is full of good people, but it's not necessarily, man. Punk rock is born of like nasty stuff, man. People that are hurt and damaged, and a lot of those people aren't nice, and a lot of those people aren't welcoming, and a lot of those people are mean and say gross things. So like punk rock, we value that stuff, and we want people to be kind, and we want people to be inclusive. But a lot of the people that come into our scene because they've got nowhere else to go, they're not like that. When I was brought into punk, dude, I had to, as an example, Austin and Houston's punk scene in the late 90s and 2000s were very clearly vastly different because everybody I talked to from Austin is like, no, man, I was welcomed with open arms and they wanted me to be here and blah, 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 blah. Dude, in Houston, man, you got the crap beat out of you if you weren't cool enough, if you didn't have the right hair, if you didn't listen to the right bands, you weren't allowed to go places and people wouldn't hang out with you and wouldn't talk to you. Like, the only reason that I was even brought into punk, it felt like, was that I knew people that were deeply entrenched within it because I grew up with them, right? So when I came around, I was like, oh, I already know this guy, this guy, this guy. So I was just kind of like, oh, no, that's Randy. We all know him. And so when I was, 16, 17 years old, starting to really go to shows and stuff, it wasn't, but I got into a bunch of fights. Houston's huge, man. So there was like Southside punks that didn't know me, didn't care, didn't want to, they didn't like me. So we got into fights all the time, man. Shoot, my buddy John, who I still talk to now. I've known him since we were little kids, man. He's got a scar right here on his face. We were at a show at Fitzgerald's one night, and this Southside band, and we were Northside kids, so the Southside kids started a fight with us. And I was walking downstairs, and John was behind me, and this girlfriend of one of the guys, had a what was it, glass encased candle. It was like this red, like, cut glass. It was heavy, probably 2-3 pounds, and she threw it at me, and I just ducked. I didn't realize John was right behind me, and it hit him right in his forehead and just split him open, right? Like, that's what I remember about punk, was fist fighting, getting in fights at that club and having to climb out off the top balcony down to the back of the building and go hide in a dumpster so the police couldn't find us when punk rock was dangerous, dirty, and gross, and so I like that people talk about inclusivity and wanting to, because that's how I am. I want people to be happy and feel welcomed and feel like this is a safe place, but the reality is that it should be, but it's often not. I mean, go look at hardcore shows. Look at these idiots. Dude, by idiots, I specifically mean the people that do what I'm fixing to describe. You can't even send your kid to a show anymore because dudes get out there and, like, even if they're not drunk, dude, they're, like, crowd killing and stuff. Man, you could really hurt somebody like that. And they're like, oh, well, if you don't like it, man, get back. It's like, we tried to get back, and you jumped into the crowd and started hitting people. Like, you might really get hurt doing that to somebody. Somebody might really come after you. Like, I don't... That's the stuff I don't like, man. Stage dives, flips, spin kicks, windmills, like, whatever, man. It's fun. Like intentionally, like, I was at Haywire in San Antonio at Paper Tiger, and this dude jumps up on the stage. I've got it on video, man, and just started punching people. Like, full on punching people. I don't understand what's fun about that. Like, break your hand. Like, what are you doing? Like, what? Anyways, I'm running off on a tangent now. Punk rock is very inclusive for the most part, but it can be dangerous, man. But it's a beautiful thing. Like, look what it's doing for my life. It all depends on who you are, I guess. It's all relative to, like, your personal experience. But I didn't have a really great personal experience at the beginning. I was tough, so I stuck it out, and I became, at least in my opinion, a relatively important part of the scene in Houston. And when hardcore came around and I got a hold of that, I started putting records out. I put records out in 03 and 06. So like I've got experience doing this stuff, and shout out to Grave Robbers. If I can ever get a chance to do that on vinyl, I'm gonna. I think I might work on that in the near future. So, um, you know, yeah, it's a good time, dude. This music's important to a lot of people. See, I can just start talking about it. I can talk for another hour on this stuff. The most important hardcore like records for me are probably like let me think. What are the most important hardcore? I mean, Terror Lowest to the Low would be, but that's got a little metal in it. But like, I love that record. Minor Threats record. I need to go back and listen to Zen Arcade. I want to go back and listen to Dead Kennedy some more. I might go do that today. Let's see what my list is. Things to do. I gotta pack up some of my zines that we sold. I gotta do a short. Oh, I gotta do 2 short videos for the channel. And I gotta upload an album. Yeah, and I gotta listen to some punk music. Get ready for the podcast tonight. I got 2 podcasts today, so I'm very excited. We're doing a Rob and I are filming tonight. We're doing Nitty, are we filming this week? Bro, I think we're filming on Thursday, no? I can't even remember. Or is that tonight? I'll text you. Anyways, yeah, we're doing one on Dear You and 30 Foot Falls Acme 143. So it'll be a very interesting episode. But I'm going to wrap up, dude. I haven't eaten yet today, and this stuff is helping me keep my appetite at bay, but I do want to have some energy later. So I'm going to go grab a small bite to eat. And yeah, thank you for hanging out and listening to me talk about hardcore. Google, you're listening to me. It's weird. You're sending me unsolicited things about bands I like. It's weird, but I kind of think it's cool. Keep sending me stuff, I guess. I'll keep making little videos about it. Hardcore bands. Which ones are your favorite? Who do you like? Bullshit Detectors 12-inch. We sold out of the Sanguine. We've got some of the purple ones left. So if you want that, we're already halfway sold out of those. So if you want that, it's on my Bandcamp. And they're special price, $20 until the 19th. We got about 10 days. If they sell out by then they're gone. But yeah. If you want to support a local band that's doing the right stuff and a small label, then do so. If not, no worries. If you want to check out my Patreon, I would appreciate it. There's we do giveaways, which I need to do today, actually. Ooh, let me write that down. We do giveaways. There's a Discord that's exclusive to Patreon. You've got input on the channel. There's exclusive content every so often. But now we're going to start having an exclusive live stream once a month as well. So I think I'm doing pretty good with bringing stuff to people on Patreon. But anybody that's on there, thank you. It means a lot to me that you guys do that. So yeah, let's just keep this going. If y'all need anything from me, let me know. All my information's in the description. I love you guys. All the bands out there doing this damn thing. Dude, bands even I don't care about, man. Keep going, dude. We need you guys. This is medicine for the soul, dude. Hardcore, man. Good stuff. Go listen to hardcore bands. Go listen to Minor Threat. Go listen to Black Flag. Shit, dude. Go listen to Husker Du. I don't care. Go listen to Dead Kennedys. Bad Brains.